Now Iowa's U.S. Senate race, Chuck Grassley, the Republican, going for an 8th term. First, the Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll shows Grassley up by 8 over the Democrat Mike Franken. Remember when Grassley got reelected in 2016, on Election Day, he beat Democrat Patty Judge by about 25%. Now that other poll, the one from the Tax Relief Foundation poll, this one, Grassley also winning by about 8 in this one.
I think it's very doable. I think Chuck Grassley has been in office now, in federal office 47 years, in office in Iowa for 63 years. That's a very long time. And Mike Franken is a 3-star admiral. He knows how to work, on different sides of the aisle, but also knows how to get things done. And I think that's what people are looking for. People are very frustrated right now. They're not happy with either side. I understand that. Like, we can talk about these great poll numbers, but the reality is people don't have really great poll numbers. People don't like politicians right now. Maybe a little more than they like, maybe a little less than they like the media, right? We're all in sort of this interesting world where there's a lack of trust. So I think when you go into it and you say, okay, am I going to pick a politician who's been in office for a long, long time and comes out and says, I need, 6 more years to get a prescription drug bill done, or I need 6 more years to do this work, or are you going to pick the person who's not a politician? That's where I think there's the ability to go forward. That's where I think Deidre has a shot as well.
But Grassley was in office for a long time, 6 years ago too.
Yeah.
And he won big.
That's true.
So what's different now?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things different. I think there's things that have changed. Obviously, overturning Roe. Obviously, things are looking like people are very frustrated with what's currently happening in Washington, right? And no matter what, if you're in Washington, you're part of the problem, right? So I think also, being in office at some point for 47 years, I'm 47 years old, right? So being in office that long, people have to say, okay, wait a minute. And maybe they look at Mike and they say, he's an alternative that I can vote for. We've gone to the extreme. The politicians aren't popular, but if you look on both sides, Biden's not popular, but Trump's not popular either here, right?
Republicans seem to want to run against Finkenauer more than Franken. Franken might be tougher here, but is this race competitive? Is Grassley in trouble?
Well, I don't want to spend too much time on poll numbers, but his margin is pretty close to where the generic ballot is. I used to always say to our candidates when they're running for the legislature is that Iowans will vote for who they know, they like, and they trust. And once, Chuck Grassley's one of the hardest serving members of Congress. He'll be out, and he's already out making the rounds and talking to Iowans. And when they're faced with that decision, I'm confident they'll vote for Chuck Grassley in the end. I actually agree. I think there's a lot of frustration in both parties with Washington, D.C. And that's a distinction that I think Senator Grassley's going to have to make, is that he's actually been out holding the line on what's come down from the Biden administration, what's come down from Democrats in Congress, and their policy solutions that really have not worked. And so I think he's going to have a tremendous opportunity to make that.
Except when Kim Reynolds takes credit for the ARPA money that Biden sends here. So we got a big, tax bill through, but we can talk about all the infrastructure pieces that we're making, the $90 million we're spending to help, Polk County itself, the thousands and thousands of dollars that are going towards these very important projects in rural Iowa. So and childcare and all the other thing that she gets headlines for, all paid by, and all passed by Democrats, right? Every time. So I understand what you're saying.
No,
but we can pass major tax bills, make the government much smaller. But when it comes to taking credit for things, we're taking a lot of credit for a lot of federal dollars here, and it's an interesting tactic.
You aren't a conservative legislator anymore. You're just a conservative dude who heads an organization. Would it be a more principled stand, though, for these Republican governors across the country to have returned a bunch of this federal money? Because they say, look, this is jacked up inflation. And frankly, a lot of the economists will say, there's so much money in there, it's pushed up prices here. But would we have been better served as taxpayers to push some of that back?
If we had been able to collectively do that, that would have been the preferable solution. Because what you have is those extra dollars that are sloshing through the system, in some places trying to find an outlet for these dollars, that is what's driving inflation right now, which is the #1 issue.
But how's that different than like tax cuts? Because that pushes more money out, right?
It puts the money back in the pockets of Iowans to spend, and then that reverberates their economy. But when the federal government just prints money they don't have and sends it out to the states or wherever else, then that is a significant driver of inflation. And so, yes, we would have been better served to find a way to hold the federal government in check and say, that's too much.
But the reality is people were hurting, and it's obviously we have a huge child care issue. Not all of her ideas and solutions I would agree with, but there needs to be money towards some of these things, and it's not coming from anywhere. Inflation comes from a lot of different places, right? There's not one place that inflation comes from. Inflation comes from corporate greed. Ask the oil companies how much money they're not making right now, and the gas prices are super high. I mean, we know all these things right now. So there's that dichotomy that I think people have to have conversations about, and this is why I think, for the most part, voters and people in Iowa are really frustrated. Right? They're really frustrated. And that's where you say, are there openings for Democrats? Sure, there's openings for Democrats because of that.
They're back for the Quick Six, but first, a former Iowa caucus candidate hoping that you will think forward